Hey, hi, it's me again. Did I enjoy the last session? The introduction? Yeah, sure. I mean, it was a bit short, but it was all good, right? And setting up for where we go. This series is about the inevitability of identity, which basically is saying your identity has an inevitable outcome. There is behaviors that are going to be a natural consequence, irrefutable consequence, an inevitable consequence because of the identity, the values and beliefs that that identity carries. The series is important to me because I think a lot of people live identities that they didn't actually design themselves. They are borrowed identities, living out a borrowed life or a borrowed purpose. What does a borrowed identity mean? So, when we are born, so the last trimester in the womb and the first 7 years of our lives, our brain, or first 5 years of our lives, I can't remember now, our brain is in a theta brainwave, right? A frequency known as theta. And it's a low frequency. And basically, it's in a hypnosis mode. And it's in hypnosis mode because we are absorbing what it is to be human. We are absorbing what it is to be in our family, within our culture, within our society. We can't learn all of those lessons consciously. So we're learning them unconsciously. Our brain just absorbing lots and lots and lots of information, which after the age of 7, it stops the theta frequency and you then start living out of it. So if you don't then consciously decide who you are, what you believe, how you're going to live, what's important to you, it will fall to the default setting. That default setting is all of the imprinting that has happened in the first 7 years of your life. That imprinting is then what we communicate to the rest of the world. We assume is us, right? But in actual fact, it's imprinting that we've got from our parents, from our caregivers, from the school, from grandparents, from everybody that we engage in. We literally become the expressed image of that ancestral message. People come on coaching sessions with me to find their identity, so the inevitability of identity, or they come on a purpose exploring course, the pursuit of purpose, or they come on the 6 Degrees of Why course. And the first thing that they discover, to their own shock and horror, is the fact that they are living on this default mode. They've got this default setting. What happens in the default setting is we then echo. We borrow the language and we echo, we reflect back into the society around us the message that we've got over our 7 years. And that's important because it gets us the praise, right? It gets us the little pats on the head. We then conform in our performance to get the praise. We're approval addicts. And that's what primarily shapes our identity. It's what primarily shapes many people's sense of purpose. Many people come and sit down and they will go through this whole program of defining their purpose. And you've got to understand there's nothing wrong with this, right? We echo the world around us until we remember who we are. So we get them to work through these exercises, they define their purpose, great. And as they are starting to work on the purpose, we're starting to ask the questions, well, okay, why do you say you want what you want? Why do you say that? Where did you get it from? When did you first start feeling that it was your purpose? Who told you it was your purpose? Who told you that these behaviors, these aspects, these principles that you're utilizing are yours and are conducive to achieving your purpose? No one person did. It is the collective response for us conforming to the echoes of the past. Our satisfaction is from living who we believe we are deep down inside of us. And we need to remember who we are. So the inevitability of identity is not necessarily about defining new identities. It's about remembering who we actually were, who we actually are before all the noise got hold of us. And then saying, oh, well, let's move all of that stuff out of the way and let's be wholly who we are. That is the point of the inevitability of identity. For the most part, people stay within the confines of their family setting or their culture or their community, and they don't venture outside of it, and they don't get exposure to anything else. So there's nothing that is contrary to the default setting. So they accept it as the norm. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. Though there is that voice, just underlying whisper that's just saying, I'm dissatisfied with the circumstances. You wake up and you look at the walls, and they're known walls, they're safe walls. You look at the roof, and it's a known roof. It's provided you protection, and it's provided you cover, and it's familiar, and it's safe, right? But there's also a call then to step outside of that house and start taking ownership of skills and abilities and arranging them in a way that's not necessarily been addressed before. I'm not saying this is now an ancestral revolution where we're revolting against the ancestors. That's not the point here. There is a place of honoring what has gone before, but I don't have to carry that silence. I don't have to carry those responsibilities. It's not mine to carry. But we've got to recognize that in our default setting, that's lying there somewhere and it's driving us. And if you pick it up and you look at it and you say, oh, well, it is from the ancestor, but I'm happy to own it, well, then that's fine. But if you're picking it up and you're saying, well, it is from the ancestors, but that was for a time gone. Lots of unspoken secrets within the family, for example, doesn't mean you must continue the silence. We carry stuff in our identities, in our values, in our beliefs, which is not us, it's others. And that stuff's important. So the inevitability of identity is delving into that stuff, pulling it up and saying, well, do we like it? Do we want to own it? Yes, no. Yes, great. No? Okay, let's change it. By doing that, we are shaping ourselves to become the people, the kind of person that's going to achieve the results that we actually want to achieve. Fulfill, live out a purpose that we carve out for ourselves, rather than becoming an expressed image of advertising or parents' hopes, grandparents' dreams, society's pressure for us to conform, to act in a certain way and behavior. We become ourselves, right?